Simon Amor has stepped down from the USA 7's head coaching position. I don't think that's a surprise, and I think there are a couple of things to think about. Number one, his replacement, Zack Test, was in the frame to potentially be the USA coach. Probably the feeling was that he probably needed a little bit more seasoning. And second of all, he's an American, so what does he know? Amor, he showed up and he had to rebuild the team. And he had to rebuild how the team performed. I don't think he did a bad job, but I think the timing and everything was very, very tough for him because of the way the teams were falling. New Zealand, South Africa were having down years overall. And, just like through the season. But they're still going to be great. Spain and Argentina were having up years. That meant that it was even harder to be able to burst into that top 8 when you have a very inexperienced team and a new coach and a new system and questions. So it's a tough one for Simon Amor. Family living in the UK. Is he going to move over? And then finally they don't make it into the top tier. World Rugby changes everything. We talked about that. So they're in the second tier. So they're playing fewer tournaments. If they're playing fewer tournaments and fewer high-profile tournaments, why would you be spending all this money on a coach for that? Amor left. As I understand it, Amor left, not USA Rugby pushed and said he left. I believe he did leave. They brought in Zack Test. Now, Zack Test, if you don't know, is one of the greatest US Sevens players of all time. When the USA was great, he was just finishing his career with the USA when the USA started to really just be amazing. But when they were amazing, one of the reasons they were amazing is because they retained kickoffs. One of the reasons they used to retain kickoffs was Zack Test, who was a terrific high school rugby player at Peninsula Green, played rugby and football at the University of Oregon, was a wide receiver in football. He would go up there, he would get that ball up in the air. He sort of laid the groundwork to say the United States is going to be a world-class, a world leader in winning kickoffs. He went into coaching, and in fact, a nod to Mike Friday. This is back in, 2017, 2018, they had a warm-up tournament in San Jose, and Friday pretty much took a step back on coaching the USA team there and had Ben Pinkelman and Zack Test coaching the team. Why? Because he wanted them to get that idea about coaching the team. Both of those have been involved in scouting and looking at teams. Test has been more into coaching, Pinkelman more into scouting. Test has been assisting Emily Bidewell. You'll remember it is Zack Test who reminded Spiff Cedric that she had to kick the conversion so the USA women could win the bronze medal. If she had not kicked the conversion, it would have been tied and then it would have gone to overtime, and who knows. But it was Test who was keeping a calm head in that and saying, hey, we've got to get this taken care of. This is the sort of thing we look for. He is a great servant to the American game, one of the greatest players we've ever had, simply because of how hard he worked. When the USA team was not very good, and he was great, and everybody loved him worldwide, thought he was great. And I talked to some overseas, but when he retired, I was talking to players from different countries, and they had nothing but good things to say about him. So we got an American coach who understands the landscape, who understands what it's like to play on a team when it's not playing well, and when it is playing well, understands all of those things, understands team culture, things like that. I think ultimately that's good. Now, he comes into a team that will play 3 Tier 2 tournaments. If they're in the top 4 of those 6 teams, which they should be, they bump up into the first tier group where they have 3 tournaments of 12. This is an ideal situation for Zack because the pressure is fairly low. He can take the pieces of the puzzle. He can fit them together. He can make a couple of experiments. They should be able to be beating the teams they are in Tier 2 with, at least most of them. But he has a little bit of room for error there, and then go in and test against the very best. And that's pun intended. I know what I was saying there. This would be a good position to put a young American coach in. And why can't we have a young American coach? When was the last time that happened? I think it's good news.